Hey, what's up, everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying their Wednesday night. Welcome to Extreme Blue. I'm your host, Big Blue Ant. Um, let's dive right into it. I was on Sneaky G Man's show last night, and a lot of talk over Daniel Jones and what he's done wrong and what he's done right. And my opinion of Daniel Jones is we're done. I'm done. At least I am. And I wanted to bring up a few reasons why I'm done. It's not just, how can I put this? Let me read to you what I wrote. Put it on one of the pages today on Facebook. And I think I hit the nail on the head as far as what I'm trying to say. So here goes. I said, the only thing I blame DJ for is being absolutely horrible. The excuses are over. The only thing he proved is that with a good head coach, a good O line, and some weapons, that he is still making the same mistakes that he did without all of those excuses. I will not ever want a Giants player to lose and will never start, no matter who is no matter who it is. However, he is not the guy. We need a legit NFL caliber quarterback that can be a great leader and take control. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So, basically what I'm saying is the excuses are done. We can't sit here and keep making excuses. Everybody wants to see the good in Daniel Jones. I do too, but I'm just not seeing what you guys are saying. So, based off of what I'm saying, I'm just I just can't do it anymore. I just can't. Now, I know he's going to be the quarterback in the next game, and I'm going to root for him because I want the team to win. More specifically, this game. I hope Daniel Jones comes out and has the game of his career because I hate Philadelphia. Philadelphia has never been one of my favorite teams, never will be one of my favorite teams, and that's just the way it is. Um, having said that, uh, it looks like Andrew Thomas is not going to play this week. Looks like Malik Neighbors will be back. I don't know how that's going to factor, depending on who our left tackle is going to be. The rumors are that it could end up being Evan Neal. Josh Azudu, I don't think should be playing at all, unless Neal, again, if Neal is your left tackle this week, um, is playing like Evan Neal has played in the past. Hopefully, the good news is that Evan Neal is going back to a position he's wanted to play since he's been in the NFL. It's his quote unquote natural position. It's the position he excelled at and technically got drafted for. I don't understand how we can say that considering how good Andrew Thomas was at the time of drafting Evan Neal, too. I've never been a big fan of bringing in guys solely off of their name and what they did in college and then transferring them to try and do something else. A lot of times these kids come out of college and they're very good players, and we put them in a different spot that they just don't excel at. But I don't think we've really taken a look at Evan Neal at the left tackle position because, again, Andrew Thomas is Andrew Thomas, one of the best in the league. So maybe we get a look at that this week. Maybe we see, and again, you can't really base it off of one game. He's going to come out and do the best he can, and hopefully it's enough to protect Daniel Jones' blind side so that Jones can get some passes off. I think the biggest thing with Daniel Jones for me is the progression reads. Again, one of the biggest plays, and it's been posted up all over social media, is that last fourth down. That if we would have driven down, I believe we could have taken the lead. Um, I think we might have even been up by 4 if I remember correctly. But they show the play, and it's directly behind Daniel Jones. So you can see everything he sees, basically. You see who he threw it to, Darius Slayton. The problem was, as he's looking, not even getting ready, not even throwing the ball yet, looking at Darius Slayton, he has what I believe was Wan'Dale Robinson off to his left, about 2-3 yards past the first down marker, which is what we needed. And it looked like he had some space to get the ball out of bounds. Also, about 20, let's say 15, 20 yards downfield, he had Theo Johnson wide open. So he could have went to either one of those reads, and he went to his first one, his guy. We all know Darius Slayton is his guy, and Slayton has shown times he can be a superstar, and then he's shown signs where he can be subpar at best. I shouldn't say at best because I just got done saying he's been really good sometimes. But anyway, but again, in that pocket there of those guys, you see two guys on the guy he throws to, and again, nobody on the other two guys. He wasn't being aggressively rushed. The defense was doing their job and trying to get to him. But I believe he had plenty of time. I don't think he was hit. But again, these are the problems we have with Daniel Jones. Also, I always see fans, backing up Daniel Jones in the aspect of, he's, how can I put this? He throws good balls, but it hits the receivers in the hands and it's pretty much on them because they should be catching the ball. I'm not going for that. And here's why. Because a lot of times, yes, the ball does hit these guys in the hands. But when you ask these guys to contort their bodies while running full speed to catch a ball that is behind them, whether it hits them in the hands or not, that's where the difference between a great play comes or a bad decision and bad throw by a quarterback. It becomes a great play if that receiver reaches back far enough, grabs the ball, and gets some yards out of it. The bad play is what usually happens, and he throws the ball behind him, and it can get popped up in the air for an interception. It can hit the player in the hands and just bounce off of them altogether, and nothing, an incomplete pass. We know he underthrows quite a bit. We know he overthrows the ball a lot. Here's a stat that I want to say it was his second year. The Giants, I believe, overall during that season were number 2, somewhere in the top 5 for big plays downfield, long passes downfield. The Giants were in the top 5. I want to say it was number 2, but I'll just say top 5 to be safe. So do I think Daniel Jones can get the ball downfield? Yeah. The problem is his timing is horrible. I don't know what changed between now and then. Did he get lucky? Because again, we've known since Eli's been our quarterback, we haven't had an offensive line since Eli was here. So was he getting more time to throw the ball, or was he kind of just heaving it up there and hoping somebody caught it? And for the most part, they did. I don't know, but whatever it was for that purpose, I want him to get that back. I do think that Daniel Jones had, and the reason I say had the potential is because he's in year 6. Now, he may go on to have an illustrious career, which I don't think he will, or even a good career. Maybe he ends up on another team. Maybe we don't know. But on this team, in this scheme, with this coach, with these players, he's not the guy. He's not the guy for us. We need to either go out and try and draft a quarterback this coming year. I know the rumors have been out there of them possibly trading to get Matt Stafford. I don't think that's happening. I think that's all it is a rumor. There's a lot of weird things coming out. Another rumor I saw today kind of makes sense, but again, it's another one that I don't see happening. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a diehard Michigan fan, so I'm not putting my bias in this at all. But the rumor has it that Minnesota is going to sign Sam Darnold to a big contract for quite a few years to continue being their starter, seeing as how well he's fit there. And, kind of puts J.J. McCarthy on the back burner. Now, could that be a potential trade for the Giants to make? Yes. Do I think it will be? No. And part of that reason is because he's in his rookie contract. Now, I have to look it up. I don't know what the stipulations are. Can he be traded during his rookie contract? I would think so, only because they're only going to get trade back for him, draft capital back for him. And as long as wherever he goes fulfills his contract need. And of course, I believe, and again, depending on how the contract was situated, he may be able to go to some teams if he wants, if it's in his contract, or maybe it's in his rookie contract that, they can trade him or whatever it's going to be. But, it's all rumors. It's all remain to be seen. Donovan is here. Let's see what Donovan has to say. My man. DJ is not the guy, but I like the kid. I'm with you. With all the shit that he puts out, he's just not consistent. Absolutely. They don't translate into wins, and that's the most important thing. But he really wants to be the guy. He wants to be good, that he puts his body on the line every game. And he goes on to say he respects it. And I respect that too. But here's the problem I have. Is he putting his body on the line for the team? Because I've said this repeatedly. El Capitan, I see you. He puts his body on the line consistently. And we want to say it's for the team. I have to believe it's for the team. Otherwise, why do you do it? But I said it earlier this season. I've been saying it every game so far. Daniel Jones is technically in a contract year. What I mean by that is he signed a 4-year contract 2 years ago, this being his second year in this contract. $160 million, $40 million per year for the 4 years. There is a team option after 2 years to let him walk. However, there's an injury clause in there. If Daniel Jones gets hurt during this season and ends the season injured, the Giants can let him go and only end up having to pay him, I think it's like $12 million. Or I'm sorry, if he doesn't get hurt and they decide to drop him, it'll be that. But if he gets hurt, I believe what it is they have to keep him. So then you're looking at $80 million over the course of the next 2 years. It's going to take a big cap hit. We got some young guys on the team. We got some older guys on the team that we signed to 1-2 year contracts. I'm really liking the direction this offensive line is going. We definitely need some more depth. Again, we'll see what happens with Evan Neal or whoever we're going to put in at left tackle with the absence of Andrew Thomas. I don't see Thomas playing on an injury. Could only make things worse, which I hope not either way. But, just I don't know, guys. It's difficult to watch this team because when we win, it's exciting. It's always going to be exciting when you win. And when you lose, it's disappointing. But at this point, and I'm talking back to Eli's last couple of years too, it's super disappointing as a fan, especially this time, to say, we're kind of used to it. It's technically been the same thing year after year after year with a couple playoff runs or, playoff pushes in those couple of years. 2016, the Giants make the playoffs and the whole boat trip comes on and the jinx of that. I don't believe in that shit. But then you got, the playoff run we had a few years ago. And this is part of the thing that makes me, I don't want to say despise, but dislike the ability or the mindset, excuse me, of Daniel Jones, is that you come out with a team. With that team, you make a playoff push. And we all know Saquon Barkley was a big part of that. Well, Daniel Jones played relatively well that year as well. So I can't just take it away from Daniel Jones. He had a really good year. We made it to playoffs. We won a playoff game away from home. My problem with that isn't that year. We got excited. We were made to believe. My problem's with the following year. The only difference in that offense was John Feliciano, who left on his own free will to go to San Francisco. You mean to tell me that one guy made all those games difference? That one guy made Saquon Barkley less of the running back than he was a year before. That one guy made Daniel Jones less of a quarterback than he was the year before. Considering it was the exact same team, I refuse to believe that. So, in having said that, I had to have to believe, and based on what we're seeing this past game, is that this is who Daniel Jones is. We got lucky in that playoff run. Now, Daniel Jones has been known to string a couple games together. You know what I mean? Like to have some really good games. But I've also said this before too. During those times, we didn't have many good players on our team. We were scrounging for coaches, scrounging for GMs, scrounging for players that wanted to be here. Because let's remember, for a short time, nobody wanted to be here, and it had a lot more to do with them not want to be here about than taxes. I think it was the team's non-winning ways that scared a lot of people away. Um, but in the course of this time, again, we've given Daniel Jones every excuse possible that you can give it. And again, I don't want to sound like I'm crapping on this kid, even though I am. I like him. I think he's a good kid. I agree with Donovan. He had the ability or has the ability to be that guy. The thing he lacks the most is the quarterback instinct. He doesn't know where he's at on the field. He doesn't know where to throw the ball because he doesn't look around. Occasionally, like he's got, all right, I put it to you this way. He's gotten better since his rookie year, looking at his progressions, but he's fallen back into that rookie year progression mentality of staring down the receiver he's technically going to throw to. And he did that on that fourth down in the last game. That pretty much ended that game. You know, people want to talk about the defense and how the running back got through, you know, after the fumble that we didn't pick up, got through the line and darted for the end zone. We were already losing at that point. We were already down 3 at that point. So when Jones in that fourth down play happened, the game was pretty much over right there, guys. We had no way of making it. You know, I'm tired of seeing this team play like this. I'm tired of giving guys excuses when they're doing the same things over and over again and they're not getting progressively better. They're kind of just floating, if you will. Quite frankly, it's not what Giants fans want to see. And I know there's a lot of Giants fans out there that sit there and rip some of us fans for wearing our hearts on our sleeves and booing this guy. Listen, we boo him because of his bad play. We don't want him to lose, at least some of us. There are players or fans out there that want him to lose games and stuff like that. I will admit that when the team is pretty much down and it doesn't look like they're going anywhere, that I kind of am hoping for that high draft pick to quite possibly put together a team year after year after year. But again, on Sneaky G-Man's show last night, he made a good point. Like over the last, I want to say 5 years or so, we've had pretty much a top 5 draft pick with the exception of the playoff season. We've had a top 10 draft pick. And we've had a couple good guys come out of it. But overall, like, we should have built better. People are saying that, you know, we're going to have to do a rebuild. We're going to have to do a rebuild. You know, it sucks because we're going to have to do it again. I don't think we've ever done a rebuild. From the time that Gettleman drafted Daniel Jones to now, there's never been a rebuild. Never. They've tried to put pieces in on this team to make it a playoff team, to make a push, to make a run for the playoffs. And it didn't work. Just didn't work. I don't necessarily know if it was the guys they picked or if it was necessarily the guys that they got off of free agency. I know that it was a bunch of, you know, all the above. But again, it's just frustrating, man. It's been too long. Again, at this point, we don't necessarily have to make the playoffs. And that's sad to say. I just want to become relevant again. Let's become relevant, make it, and this is where I understand the Cowboys' sense of. Now, I'm a big proprietor of, if you don't make the playoffs, you don't have nothing to brag about. You can brag about regular season statistics, regular season wins, and how many times you beat one team in the course of 10 years, because I hear that from Cowboys fans a lot. I understand that. I don't mind all that stuff. But I have to say that I understand it because I want to be relevant. And in order to be a consistent playoff run type of team, a consistent playoff making type of team, you have to be relevant first. You have to come out and have a 8-9 year, then the next year come out 9-8 or 10-7. Or you know what I mean? Like keep bumping up. We're not doing that. We come up, we basically take 2 steps forward and 5 steps back. That's what this Giants team has done over the past, again, with the exception of the 2 playoff runs we've had since Odell was here. We've just been up and down. It seems like every time we get a new coach, we're sold false hope, and the coach sounds great, and we become believers as fans, and it's the same thing over and over again, guys. And this is why I've grown tired of Daniel Jones. This is why the excuses are done. The kid has been hand fed by most of the fans, sure as hell by John Mara. I think Joe Shane is basically entertaining the idea over the past couple of years because we don't have anybody else right now. They don't want to make the trade and give up all that draft capital. And then you got, again, Brian Daboll and even Mike Kafka have tried to do the best they can. Well, the playoff run year, let's not forget, one of the biggest things that came out is that he had to dumb down the system for Daniel Jones. Now it worked. We got to the playoffs, so we can't complain in that aspect. But the fact that we looked at it beforehand when he wasn't that good, during that season when we were starting to think, okay, maybe he could be a good game manager because game managers can win Super Bowls. We've seen it at least twice. But that's not what we got, guys. We got a guy who's going back to being the guy that we sit there every week and say to ourselves, we're never going to get away from this Dave Gettleman. Because let's not forget, Daniel Jones is a product of the Dave Gettleman era. I don't want to say wasted. Well, he technically wasted the 6th overall pick on Daniel Jones. Now I know you get quarterbacks that come into the league out of college and they're touted to be the biggest superstars ever, and and they end up being busts or flops. And the one thing I will say about Daniel Jones is he wasn't a flop right away because, again, one of the excuses we gave him was he hasn't had a consistent head coach. So he's constantly changing offenses and offensive coordinators and offensive coaches and quarterback coaches and so on and so on. And the whole team's had to deal with that. But again, we've had consistency at coach. We're in the 3rd year of our head coach and our GM now. They've given him an offensive line. They've given him some weapons. We have a super high ceiling for a running back that we drafted in the 3rd round. Was it the 3rd round? I think it was the 3rd round in Tyrone Tracy Jr. We still have Devin Singletary, who's still a solid back. Eric Gray is another question. Not a big fan of his. But, we have pieces there to where we should be making strides. And for 3 games, it looked like Daniel Jones was doing that, and then he crapped all over himself in that Bengals game. We played that game to lose that game. Jared, I see you, buddy. I love you, man. But we literally played that game to lose it. We put everything out there we could. Our defense gave up a late garbage touchdown. And the only thing I can really say about the defense was the tackling's got to be a little better, guys. And then the one play where Burrow, cranks out a 46, 47-yard touchdown run, which we were all caught off guard because if you watch that play from Burrow's perspective, his eyes, that's what a good quarterback does. His eyes led everybody to that side. That's why he was so wide open. And his speed is good because Isaiah Simmons, probably one of the faster linebackers / safeties in the game, one of, could barely catch up with him. So there's still a lot of stuff that has to be cleaned up. I appreciate Brian Daboll didn't have a great coaching game, didn't have a great game plan. But the thing that was great about it is I loved the aggressiveness. I loved that he wanted to be aggressive. The biggest thing I had a problem with is, Darryl, I'm not going to put out a link. I'm only going to do a half hour tonight because it took so long for me to get wound up. So I'm just going to do a half hour tonight and then try and pump on the Sneaky show tomorrow. I got to talk to Sneaky. I'm going to part of the reason I'm going to bump to a half hour tonight, maybe a little more, is because I said it last week during the technical issues that I have fixed, thank God. Being on Sneaky's show on Tuesday nights gives me next to nothing to talk about tonight because I'm usually letting out all my feelings on his show. And I'm sure you guys can understand that because you're sitting here listening to me with the I'm trying to get things into my head. And we have a lot more Giants fans here than Yankees, Knicks, and Rangers fans. I could go on for days, but I don't have that kind of fan base follow yet. I hate saying fan base. Family followers, I guess you could say, or followers. So I'm going to talk to Sneaky and see if, he doesn't mind me pushing more for Thursday night. Because if you guys know, I really don't hop on too much on Thursdays. I do have to have time with the wife. We've been married for, 23 years. We've been together for over 30. Our children are finally grown, so we're finally getting our couple's life back, again. So I'm still trying to make time out during the week because she works all day. I'm still on, temporary disability. And, I want to spend time with her when she gets home from work because she does go to bed early. But doing all those nights with Sneaky is another thing that kind of hurts. Doesn't hurt my relationship. My wife understands what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. But yeah, that's the gist of why I'm shortening up these shows. Again, I got to talk to Sneaky. I'll probably talk to him either tomorrow or sometime this weekend and just let him know I'm going to start bumping to Thursdays. I don't want to not be on his show because I love Sneaky like a brother. And I know sometimes he looks for me to be there and I want to be there on Tuesday nights for him. It's a big night. We're talking about the team we just got off the loss to. But then again, it takes away from my show because I want to be able to talk about that stuff here as well. Thursday nights is better for me on Sneaky show because I can talk more about the next game coming because that's what Sneaky does that I like. He'll take Tuesday night, talk about the win or loss the prior week, and then Thursday night we'll get jumping into the following week. So I like that, the way he puts that out there. I put my show in the middle of his because why not? Basically, just why not? So, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it, guys. That's again, if you saw Sneaky show last night, you can go ahead and look it up on his YouTube page. He keeps all of his shows there. There was a lot to talk about last night. It was a really good show, and I want to start getting those shows back here. But again, I'm running out of stuff to talk about, guys, because I'm letting everything out on Sneaky show and not giving it time to do anything new here. So in other words, I don't want to do Sneaky show. I want to do Big Blue Ant show. I want to do Extreme Blue. So I'm still trying to come up with some music for my outro and my intro, all that stuff. But that's pretty much it, guys. Kind of letting you in a little bit on what's going on with me as far as getting the show up and running it to the point where I want it. Things are slow going right now. And a lot of it has to do with me being out of work because I can't spend the money in the places I want to right now. Once I get back to work, I'll be able to put a little money here and there and pick up some equipment here and there and, try and get a better production out of the show to make it a little more interesting, a little more entertaining for maybe people that just want to see sports talk in general and just happen to swing by the show. So with that said, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Please tell your friends if you like the show, Daryl, Donovan, Jared, Raphael, let your friends know, say, hey, you might not like the Giants, but this guy gives everybody the opportunity to say their piece and there's no strings attached, help me get my fan base up. Again, fan base, I hate saying that, but it's what it's called. So if you guys can help me get my fan base up, go over to my TikTok. Now, I think all you guys are on my TikTok, the Big Blue Ant _72. But you can also go to Extreme Blue. It's spelled, I believe I spelled it EX. Let me tell you, I got to look these things up. I got so much stuff I'm getting ready to put up. But I want to make sure I get you guys in the right places. Get TikTok up. Give you the proper spellings of these things. Okay, it's Big Blue Ant _72. And then Extreme Blue, and I spelled it XTREAMBLUE, all lowercase, all one word. Check it out, guys. Help me get my fan base up in Extreme Blue so I can start doing lives there, so I can start doing in the moment, watching the game things that some people find amusing because I get pretty boisterous. And, just if you guys can, man, I'd really appreciate it. Help me get my fan base up there and my follows and all that good stuff. And until tomorrow night, if you're gonna watch Sneaky G Man's show, check it out. Make it count, Sneaky G podcast. Or you can be here with me every Wednesday night, Eastern Standard Time, 8 p.m. Till whenever. Again, guys, I'm sorry I cut the show a little short. Pretty much got everything off my chest last night. Don't want to move on to next week because I don't want to take away from Sneaky G Man's show because he is a big part of the reason I do this. But we'll go on to that tomorrow night, and in the future on Wednesday nights we'll be able to get into my feelings as far as the win or loss we had the week prior. Guys, I appreciate everybody that comes on the show. I appreciate everybody that watches, undeniably. But that's it for the show tonight, guys. God bless everybody. I hope your evening as well. I hope everybody gets good rest. And I'll see you guys next week if I don't see you tomorrow night on the Sneaky G Man show, the Make It Count Sneaky G podcast on YouTube. That's pretty much it, guys. I love you all. Peace.